topics.
Yeah. No. So now moving on swiftly. So guys, I want to now. I think this is a perfect segue into the debate itself. Now, let me talk from the point of view of a non-American who watched this thing live. Um, I felt this was embarrassing, and this was a complete total embarrassment. And I understand this is disgraceful because a lot of people, like the whole notion is that oh look, Nigeria, Africans, these guys are not civilized, these guys are not this and that. And yeah, look, in Nigeria, we have a lot of stuff to catch up on and everything, but there is no way there's a debate in Nigeria where there is not a level of decorum or respect. And as I was saying to my brothers, at one point I found it entertaining. This was funny. It was hilarious. I was laughing my face off. But I was laughing my face off. Oh, yes. But I'm a grown man. Let me take a step back and say, why am I laughing at a presidential debate? Because here's the thing. You had whether it's the Greek Empire, Roman Empire, British Empire. America is the dominant empire of today's world. So whatever America does has a trickle-down effect on the rest of the globe. So you watching a president totally disrespect the the procedure for what a debate is, i.e., I talk, you talk, I talk, you talk. I never thought, maybe because it's 2020 and 2020 is the year that everything happens, I never thought that I would see the president of America be called a clown and he not even respond to being called a clown. He just keeps on going. And never would I see someone just tell the president, shut up, and he'll keep on talking. It was a complete and total utter mess. And even to double down, how Trump acted is evidence for white privilege. 100%. If you want to see evidence of white privilege, it is how Trump, because Trump was like, bro, who cares? Who's this mediator guy? And the funny thing is that anybody who is from Africa and everything will say this, which is what my brothers told me. He's an African dictator. He's acting like an African dictator, and he loves it because he's like, wait a minute, I'm the president. Who's this stupid mediator guy? That's shut up, man, mates. Biden. So, but for me, I just thought it was shocking. It is great. But here's the thing, and I'll go to Hitman with this. I feel sorry for you Americans, man, because I'm like, this is your choice. At one end, you have a guy who is just talking nonsense. It's entertaining, it's cool, it's exciting to watch, but complete, utter nonsense and rubbish. The other guy can't string a single sentence together. Other guy is half asleep, looks wobbly, and looks like if he's suffering from a health issue himself. So I'm like, my God in heaven. So people in America should open up mail-in or whatever and vote for either one of these two. That's ridiculous. So let me come to Hitman with this. Thoughts on that debate and whether it will, and just your general thoughts. Total disgrace, total embarrassment, or bite, or who you thought one. So just general feelings and thoughts on the debate.
I'm just going to say this. When you have people that are staunch supporters of like one or the other side saying that this debate was a complete and utter embarrassment, that means the debate was a complete and utter embarrassment. Just to give you an idea of how bad this was. You know Tucker Carlson, right?
Mm.
Tucker Carlson was saying the state of this debate as a whole was just absolute garbage. And that we should be worried as Americans about this. I don't listen to the guy, but I saw like the actual like little clip that he was talking about that, and he was saying exactly that. I mean the issue is that how did we get the real question is how did we get here? How did we get here? I'm just gonna say it again. How the fuck did we get here?
I mean, well, look, Trump was voted in 2016 and Hillary fucked up. So, Tony G, man, debates, man, thoughts on the debate?
So I personally enjoyed the debate. I relished in the hypocrisy of it all. I think that it showed, I I think that it showed that both parties are foolish. I think that it showed that both parties um, back down on anything that they say or claim that they have accomplished. And I also think that Trump came there to prove a point about his presidency. I think that he did a very good job in forcing the moderator to admit some of the positives that he actually did, such as bringing down drug prices and increasing manufacturing in those key areas where his main support is. And I think that as far as Biden is concerned, I'm not really sure what he accomplished. I think that it's unfortunate that he personally wanted to make sure that he was likable versus actually having policies that we could actually attribute to his contribution, his entire 47 years of his career. I was not able to get down to that. I think that a lot of things that he was attributing to as far as his credit to the country was more so based on what Obama was able to do. And I think that Joe Biden, being in the Senate as long as he was prior to being a vice president, should be able to speak to more than that. I think that a senator should be able to speak to actual bills that you have actually written, something that Elizabeth Warren could have been able to do, something that Bernie Sanders could have been able to do, something that all of the women who were actually running for president could actually point out to specific provisions that they wrote that common day folk can say that they appreciate. And I think that it is unfortunate that people will look at this and think, oh, Trump was just so unpresidential, when both candidates were unpresidential. Both candidates were yelling.
Am I being punked right now? What is going on?
Wait, today. Let me just pause you just there.
Should it be me or you? Should it be me or you?
Wait, today. Easy. Let me just pause there. Today, let me just pause there because, come on, let's be fully objective here. Because I'm going to ask you a hard-hitting question very quickly. But before I do that, Tony, let's be fair here. One person was trying to be presidential. The other person literally said, fuck you to anything presidential. Let's be real here. One person was just talking where the media said, bro, can you chill? Can you just chill? And another guy was just trying to answer questions. So, Tony, in your view, because I want to be fair here. I'm not here to attack anybody, but I just want to be here fair. So, Tony, in your view, how was Joe Biden being unpresidential with regard to his mannerism during that, with regard to his conduct during that debate?
I could see that if he did something similar to what Michelle Obama says, when they go low, I go high. But Joe stooped to Trump's level. And if he was going to be any different, then that was the time to show it. But he showed that he's no different from Trump. I think that they are one and the same. I think that we watched two foolish old men argue, and neither one of them could care anything about America. I think that both of them are very conceited, egotistical people, proven by Joe Biden. This is his third time running for president. How many times do we have to say that we don't want you to be president, but now you're going to force it on us? And on top of that, now you're only becoming president because our only other option is Trump?
Okay, Tony. Okay, so sorry, real quick, because again, I've got to pick at this point. I'm sorry. So, two moments where I think you're looking at, which is clown and shut up, man. So let's look at clown. When he said that this guy's a clown, he then corrected himself in the same sentence and said, sorry, president.
It should have never came out of his mouth. He's been in government for 47 years. You don't know how to have a debate to raise point without using emotion? Without name calling?
Okay, Tony, I'll get to a point. Okay, so let me first get this point out, then you can respond. So my thing is, say he said clown, same sentence, he then corrected himself, sorry, president. Then when he then said, shut up, man, Tony, we have never, I don't think there's ever been a debate where there has been a candidate who has acted the way that Trump did, where this man was just talking all the time. So as Biden was, because we're human beings. Politicians are still human beings. We're not robots and machines. So are you going to now chastise Biden for just being a human being? Like, mate, I've been trying to talk for ages. You just keep talking over me. I'm like, man, shut up. So
listen, here's what I'll say to that about being human beings.
Come on now, this is getting old.
You have been in service forever, and I think that the average day person, if I was to go to work and get into an argument with somebody, because this is Joe's job at this point, this is Trump's job at this point, both of them acted unprofessional, regardless of either side. And I think that if I were to go to work and argue with somebody and tell them to just shut up, especially somebody in a higher authority. Like, regardless of how you feel about Trump, he is still the president. And you just blanketly just tell the man shut up just because you're in your feelings. Both of them should be ashamed, period.
Okay. No, it's fair. Okay, wait. Well, let me just hit the super chat, and I'm going to come to Telvin. So, Danny Henkel thing with the super chat says, "Can't feel sorry for USA. Was stuck with Boris." Daniel, bro, yeah, man. Look, I think the UK. I mean, we have our own Trump as well because Boris is a complete, utter clown, complete, total fool. So yeah, Danny, we have to not contest with that dude. Tevin, thoughts on the debate?
I personally, 2 words. It was classless and very embarrassing, honestly, from both sides. And that's really what I thought about it, honestly. I see where Tony's coming from, but I think that's the stretch, Tony, just to be honest with you.
All right.
Okay. Corey, thoughts on the debate?
It was an embarrassing shit show of a debate. I think HAHH, you do a much better job at being a moderator between Tony G and my main man Ray up there.
No. Wait. But Corey, thank you for that. But Corey, I am cheating. Chris Wallace didn't have a mute button. I do have a mute button. But thank you though. So Chris Wallace, bro, guys, if you want, no, seriously, I'm just saying, if you want me to mediate October 15th, call your boy. I need some cash. I do have a price. Call your boy because trust me, I will come in there if I have to shake Trump and Biden. Well, not shake Biden too much. Shake these guys too much. I can do a good mediation show. So, guys, Chris Wallace was garbage. Corey, back to you.
Yeah, he was garbage, man. All 3 of them was garbage. I think I talked to a friend of mine that lives in just outside of Cologne, Germany, and we go back and forth on issues and whatnot. He'd also, as an aside, he'd be a good person to get on this podcast at one point. But anyhow, from outside the U.S., I think you guys are right. It was an embarrassment to us. I think it was two old men that were fighting like, 2 old men sitting on a porch, about nothing. They have nothing to do better than to argue with each other. I think that it was one couldn't get another word out with the other one saying something. The moderator was terrible, but I also, to Tony G's point, believe that no matter who it is and how you feel about him, the president does deserve a certain amount of respect. And it was just a terrible debate overall. I don't see any good that came out of that. But I also think that they are a clear, and let me word this right, that debate was indicative of how people are on social media, on the streets, and they're indicative of how people have become so polarized, and it's all about me and you're absolutely wrong, and if you don't think like me, then you're absolutely wrong. I think they are unfortunate examples of the parties that they represent, overall in a lot of cases. You guys get into it every day, on social media with people that think and talk and act just like them. And then just how that debate went down, I think it's a very clear indication of how we deal on a daily basis, right? We just want to bicker back and forth with no solution in sight. We just want to get our points across and talk blah 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 blah. And then think that and just because you overtalk somebody, it makes you feel more powerful, make you seem more intelligent, and that's not the case, man. Those guys, that was the worst debate I've ever seen of any sort. I've seen fucking domestic disputes be more, forgiving to the other side than that was. I mean, damn, come on, man, that was terrible. That was, I don't know what else to say besides terrible. I don't think there's much intelligence or intellect could be applied to that situation.
Dude, that was like the level of a fucking Twitter argument. Like, that was a Twitter argument in live person. That's
Word.
what it was.
All right, Ray.
We've been sitting here talking about how that was the worst debate ever. We've also had a couple of people mention the fact that Biden's been in office been in political office for 30 years. At what point do we start being some damn adults and start noticing what's different? Biden's been in political arenas for 30 years. We have not been talking about Biden doing these kind of shit shows for 30 years. Trump has been in office for 3.5 years. We've been talking about shit shows for 3.5 years. How is it the moderator's fault, Biden's fault, and Trump's fault equally when the evidence shows if you removed one person, shit show stops? What I'm seeing here is we refuse to talk about magnitudes. Two people can both be overweight. One person's 10 pounds overweight. One person's 250 pounds overweight. We sitting here talking about, well, they're both overweight. They both got health issues. This is not the same. They are not the same. And we keep pretending like, well, not all of us, but we keep pretending like Trump is the same old, despite the evidence. Biden has been here for 30 years. Show me another clip of him going against an opponent and acting the way he acted with Trump tonight. The moderator, that cat isn't new either. Show me another time where he couldn't handle his thing. At what point is that sad ass, old ass, grown ass man Trump held responsible for what he creates when he's in a situation? The way we talking, if I punch you in the face 15 times and you punch back, it's a fight instead of you defending yourself. That's how we're talking right now. The way we're spinning it right now, what Biden should have done is just sat there quietly every time he was interrupted. Just sat there. That would have been presidential. Same people would have been saying Biden's a punk. Biden can't speak up. Biden can't do nothing. Same people would have been saying the cat was a punk. But because he spoke, now he's unpresidential. I'm seeing a game. It's like playing cards with a 4-year-old, where the 4-year-old always wins because the name of the game is I win. No matter what Trump does, that's right. Biden failed because he stooped down to Trump's level instead of saying Trump failed by creating that level in the first place. What are we doing? We're sitting here talking about them being a disgrace. Why don't we look at how we react to the disgrace? At what point do we say the president is the president? There's only one president. Why are we not saying that at the end of the day, if we don't know who to hold accountable, how about the cat in charge? How about the leader? How about that? Why don't we start there, then work our way down? Instead of holding everybody, shit, we got people holding AOC accountable to Trump's standard. He'll say something about that girl. She'll respond back. She's not acting appropriately. That's where we've stooped to where this little orange, shiny little God, we can't clap at him directly. He's always got an excuse. I think that's more a reflection on us than him, because we keep tolerating this, and we keep tolerating people who try to spin this like it's some kind of logic, that it's not just Trump and what he represents. This is not status quo. Yes, we can say all day long politicians are shitty. We can do that. But if you're going to pretend like this cat is the same as the last 3-4 presidents or politicians in general, I'm sitting here trying to explain to someone the difference between being 10 pounds overweight and 1,000 pounds overweight. I don't know how to talk to you because it's not the same.
So, Tony, can I just ask a question? And you can feel free to answer this or not, because really it is your right. Because I don't think anybody.
Can we let Tony respond to that? What?
Oh, no. He will. No, I know. Definitely, I don't want to. So this is almost a double barrel question. I wanted to respond to what Ray said, but also this. So respond to this and to what Ray said. So first of all, are you this November? Do you plan on voting for Trump? And you can say yes or no. You don't have to answer, and then just respond to what Ray said.
So to your question, I'm not voting for Trump or Biden because, again, both politicians are corruptive. And I think that this debate was definitely representative of that. And I would not feel right within my spirit to vote for either one of them, because I don't think that either one of them are for Black people or America as a whole. Again, I think that both of them are just focused on their own legacy, not necessarily bringing America up to whatever greatness or standard. And to respond to Ray in terms of equating Biden, who's had a 47-year career in the public spotlight as a politician, I think that we have definitely seen him speak several times on the Senate floor, whether it was calling Clarence Thomas a political activist, and that being the reason why he voted against Clarence Thomas becoming a Supreme Court justice, because Clarence Thomas was trying to make sure that we had property rights and stronger laws to abide by. We also saw Joe Biden speak on the crime bill. However politically correct he might have vocalized this and all of that, but the predator thing that we attribute to Clinton saying about us, again, that can all be traced back to Joe Biden on the Senate floor, which I think those types of antics are similar to Trump. So Joe Biden knows how to speak. He knows how to carry himself to convince people that he's anything less than a different version of Trump. But I think, again, both men are one and the same. Again, we can hear Joe Biden on the Senate floor talking about the Iraqi war and agreeing with a Republican, George Bush, and saying that, they're weapons of mass destruction, when we found out after the fact that that was not the case. We can also see Joe Biden on the Senate floor talking about, or not even the Senate floor, but in Delaware, voting against, bus integration and all of that good stuff. And the whole time, what was Trump doing at this time? He was funding Democrats like Hillary Clinton, who we now say, should have beat him the last go around. And we can find Trump funding even, what's my man's name from Chicago? Gosh. Come on, the last guy who's probably still standing outside of Andrew Young that was there when Martin Luther King Jr. was shot, Jackson. We can see him funding his presidential campaign in 1988. This is Trump, the same guy that we're trying to say is racist and all of these other things. So I think that in terms of feeling like Biden should be at a point where he should be able to speak and handle himself accordingly, because he handles himself accordingly on the Senate floor to convince everybody else to do things that are clearly against what we actually need going on in society right now. And so I think that, again, if you have a career spanning 47 years, one, you should have been retired. And I think that we can find definitely way better people for the Democrats to run. But I don't think that you get a pass just because Trump is a horrible person. I think that if you want to prove that the Democrats are so morally correct, then you handle yourself accordingly, just like I have to do on my 9 to 5. Regardless of how anybody comes at me. I can't send an email cursing at anybody or telling anybody to shut up. Now, I might say that in a different way, a politically correct way, and I think that Joe Biden should be skilled enough to do that. But of course, we know that he has dementia or whatever he has going on, or he might have forgot where he was. And similar to all of the other different tropes that he said against other people. I think the last thing that came out was he was just saying that people now can rally and feel a connection because they can eat during this pandemic because they know that Black women are filling up the grocery store aisles with cans and all that stuff, alluding to the fact that most Black women are the ones who are domestically working in grocery stores, filling up the stores at night, like different things like that, or even his story about him working at a pool and, stopping Black folks from fighting and all different kind of things that Joe has said that are clearly racial, because he is a Southern guy and he supported many Southern Republicans who have fought against Martin Luther King Jr. and whatnot. Like, least we forget that this is the Joe Biden that we're talking about. Forget all bygones. Forget all of that. Let's just focus on Trump as if Joe Biden doesn't have a history. That is my problem. And that is why I'm not voting for either one of these candidates.
Facts.
Well, I can appreciate your candor. It kind of makes it better understandable why you're unable to focus on Trump's behavior as the president right now. I totally agree with you. Biden definitely does have a history. Because if you honestly record this, you go back through this recording, you will not have heard me once defend Biden. I am not a pro-Biden guy. I voted libertarian last election. So it kind of explains how every time I try to get you to focus on the man who's in the office, you talk about anything and everything but him. But yes, for the record, absolutely correct. Biden up in Boston, Massachusetts, was not Black people's friend during the busing crisis up there. So we can absolutely talk about history, everything in context. I guess I'm still trying to figure out, why are we incapable of focusing on Trump and not making excuses for what he has done and what he has not done. He is the president right now. Why can't I live life the way I've always lived life? I focus on what will kill me first, and then once I've neutralized that threat, then I deal with the next threat. Why are we acting like I can't attack anything until I can first attack everything? That's where I'm confused right now. Trump is the guy in the seat right now. Biden has no authority. Shit. Even how we're bringing up Hillary. Hillary has no office. Why the hell am I talking about her right now? Why are we talking about her?
Well, I'll say
You
to
know,
that point, Obama has no power, but he was able to call off other Democratic candidates to stand down so that Joe Biden can be the Democratic nominee. So in terms of who has political power and who has thrust still in the political arena in Washington, D.C., I'm sure Hillary can still make phone calls and charge the Democratic National Convention to do whatever she wants them to do. I think that these people are still political figures and they can tell folks what to do regardless of positionality.
so now you understand hold up, because now you understand magnitudes. Because if you look at your phrasing, you are showing that you are capable of understanding magnitudes. Because I know you're not about to say that Obama and Trump have the same amount of political power right now in this nation. So since you're able to do that, why can't you apply that across the board? What will kill you first?
What I am saying, what will probably kill me first is the silent killer, which is the Democratic Party, in my opinion. Now, again, my point is not to say that I'm just a Trump supporter. That is not what I am. And maybe that's where some of the confusion and the backlash is coming from here.
Oh, no. There's no backlash.
But what I am saying is, again, once Trump is out of power and Joe Biden is there, once you guys vote him in, and he's still doing some of the same stuff, still funding the police, still supporting the police, still like even getting Supreme Court justices up there who could care less about. I think the most insulting part of the debate was when they started talking about the sensitivity training with the police, as if either one of them cared. Because even after that entire discussion, they were still talking about funding and getting backing from the very police who was that? I think it was the New York Post that just came out and said that now there's been a study showing that a lot of the KKK and white supremacists are infiltrating the police force and the FBI. So you have these two guys acting as though they're completely oblivious to the fact that we have a very racist police force, that we have a very white police force, but neither one of them care. But of course, we're just looking at Joe Biden as, oh, because you're a Democrat, everything is okay. And what I am ultimately saying is, yes, Trump is a problem. But the even bigger problem is that so many people have so many hopes reliant on what the Democratic Party can do, when at this point, most of the riots, to my understanding, are happening in Democratic-run cities and states.
Yeah, here's the problem with that false narrative, bro. All your big cities are Democratic because the larger it is, the more money it is, the more educated people get, and the more liberal it becomes.
So you're educated. Only Democrats are educated.
You can get it caught up in your feelings if you think that's what I heard. I'm stating the facts. The facts are the more population you have in a smaller amount of area, the more diversity that you have, it requires the more education, the more ability. Out in the middle of rural land where you got 5 people for every 15 acres, you're all spread out. The statistics show you don't have a lot of left of center areas. That's all I'm pointing out. So yes, your top 25 cities, all of your cities with more than 800,000 people, they're all Democratic. Fact. Now, when you start getting into your rural cities that conservatives don't love to talk about, like when you start going to New Orleans and stuff, that's when we don't like talking about the facts that they are poorer, they are less educated, and they actually have more gun violence, even though they have looser gun laws. We don't like talking about this. We like pretending that Chicago, Baltimore, Los Angeles, and Atlanta are the only things that exist. These are statistics. These are not feelings. So yes, there is no such thing as a large, conservatively controlled city. Never has been. Not once.
So actually, just before we just run this off and then we go to our last section, my thing that I think Hitman touched upon this is, how did America get to this situation? Now, we know that Trump has his hardened supporters, but we also know that he has guys that literally hate him. It's like, my whole thing is that I don't think there's any demographic that hates Trump more or wants to beat up Trump more than liberal white woman. I think liberal white woman is the one demographic that would want to probably kill Trump. That's just my view. And